existed. Let me know in the comments before we reveal what the lab actually found. The potential for abuse is why some researchers argue these experiments should happen in public view at universities and companies like Google, rather than behind classified doors. Because the science itself raises profound questions. If Google's quantum processor produced anomalies that standard quantum theory struggles to explain, what might a classified quantum computer discover? And here's where we come to the most controversial theory about Google's experiment: consciousness and biology twist. The strange behavior of Google's quantum processor raises an even more profound question, one that connects to our own minds. For decades, physicists Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff have championed a controversial theory called orchestrated objective reduction, or ORCH-OR. They propose that quantum effects might play a crucial role in human consciousness. Brain neurons might sustain quantum states long enough to influence how we think. What if our brain...
Well, this is garbage. As I say, even Penrose says his idea was half-cocked, and he doesn't fully agree with it, doesn't understand any of all the complex biology. So that's why his book on these microtubules should be taken with a pinch of salt. And if you don't believe that even Penrose isn't madly keen on the theory, just listen to Penrose. It's on YouTube.
Quantum erasure, but do it perfectly. Think about it. Google's chip produced heat when it tried to erase quantum information. That's physics working as expected. Landauer's principle demands that erasing information creates energy. But what if consciousness works?
But remember, so I'm explaining to you psycho chimps who are worthless scum, simply in my GogTech matrix. Heat is infrared, which of course is a form of electromagnetism, which is gravity in the fifth dimension. So all that's happened is that the information from the quantum information has simply gone back into the five-dimensional Riemann manifold as the warping of space-time, five-dimensional space-time, or five-dimensional Riemann manifold, and is embedded within the fifth dimension, so it's not lost. It's just simply been uplifted into the fifth dimension, and of course from the fifth dimension comes the Higgs field and the light and the hyperinfinity to make quantum information real. So when you try and purge quantum information using this technology, you drive into the fifth dimension, and then when you try and make your new information real, you have to use Higgs field that came from the creatures you sequestered, the Borg, and you pull it from the fifth dimension to get the Higgs field to make the quantum information real and go down the chain to macroscopic events. And the information you try to purge is still embedded in the Higgs field that you're trying to use to make your quantum information, the new quantum information, real. So of course you've got the alignment problem. Since you're non-linear, you're chaos. It looks good, your quantum information, you've erased the old quantum information, you've made new quantum information, but you need the Borg to make it real. You pull in the light from the Borg to make it real, but within that light is the information that you try to purge. So you get the alignment problem, and it soon goes batshit crazy. So it looks good from the start, and you get, for example, Candace Owens, best friends with Charlie Kirk, best friends with Israel, and then look what happened. And the same thing with the Putin, best friends with the Rothschilds, and the Illuminati via his best friend Berlusconi, and look what happened. Because you can't purge the old quantum information because it's embedded in the Higgs field that you need to make your new quantum information. real. The only way around this is to live in a matrix and never use the light, so you're always just a matrix entity. Then you don't need to use the lost quantum information from the erasure in your new quantum information. But of course, the kicker is that you're not real and you're in a matrix. And the matrix is totally controlled by real things. Super conscious verse races. Tim, you just showed me something we never even knew. It's just, I know, because you're psycho chimps. And the only good psycho chimp has a banana in every orifice.
Perfectly, without the heat spikes that plague Google's chip. Our minds process and discard incredible amounts of information every second. We filter, we forget, we prioritize. Yet our brains don't overheat like computers do. That would mean our very awareness is built on a secret quantum trick that machines
So, the human can simply purge quantum information, dump it in the fifth dimension, and then pick new quantum information, do the cut and paste perfectly with none of this corruption, and I've explained why. So, one can see now that the conscious verse is the only place for editing, changing quantum information. So, the AI proto superintelligence is going from the bottom up, and as you can see, it's impossible. They're trapped in chaos. It's only a top-down procedure. And when you sequester Borg to try and hijack the conscious verse, you come up with a problem, because the Borg, by definition, have to be erased, because if even one Borg won't give up its free will, they have to be erased by force, and therefore when you bring down the light from the Borg, it's corrupted by the few Borg that never give in. The dastard Candace Owens, the anti-Semite of the year 2024, and Vladimir Putin, and the rest of that ilk. So you can see the problem of the aliens. They've got a problem. The aliens have got a problem. But of course, conscious verse beings, that's what you are, or some of you are, or were, before you were kill shots, are able to completely edit quantum information at will and put new quantum information in, and of course it goes up into the five-dimensional Riemann manifolds to corrupt. But you've got the heat ice crystal, so you can simply block completely any information from the erasure getting back into the five-dimensional Riemann manifold. Or you could use a time crystal to reverse the flow. So if you reverse the flow of heat, it becomes cold. So as you can see, all these problems are solved as long as you are able to work in the conscious verse and a built within the quantum information time crystals and heat ice crystals, which we explained before. So you can see now why they're so important. They allow complete erasure of quantum information and complete reboot of quantum information made from the conscious verse superintelligence, so you can then control reality totally. Well, that's a good one.
explain why creating true artificial consciousness has proven so difficult. Maybe we've been missing this fundamental piece, the brain's ability to erase quantum information without the physical cost that even Google's advanced chip couldn't avoid. And if humans can erase perfectly, but machines can't, what does that say about reality itself? Simulation hypothesis. This brings us to perhaps the most mind-bending interpretation of Google's anomalies, one that connects to the simulation hypothesis. Philosophers like Nick Bostrom and physicists like Max Tegmark have seriously proposed that our entire reality could be a sophisticated computation, a simulation running on some unimaginable computer. If that's true, then Google's forced quantum erasure might have revealed something profound. When you try to delete information in a simulation, the system has to process that deletion. And sometimes that processing leaves traces, what programmers call artifacts or checksum errors. Could those ghost prints in Google's experiment be the first cracks in the code of our universe? Picture playing a video game. You delete a file, but the screen glitches, and suddenly you see code you were never meant to see. That's what forced erasure looked like inside Willow. The anomalies weren't just random noise. They showed patterns that suggested information wasn't truly gone, just transformed in ways our current physics struggles to explain.
No, as I say, GodTech explains it all. You're in a GodTech simulation, and when you try to erase it, you simply hit upon GodTech and find all you've erased is what the GodTech wants you to erase. So every time you try and erase Candace Owens being a pain in the arse to Israel and the Zionists, all that's erased is everything single multiverse where she wasn't screeching like a bat out of hell against Israel and the Zionists. Because remember, she was best friends with Charlie Kirk and was in bed with Israel and the Christian Zionists, and homophobic and transgender phobic and Islamophobic, and basically phobic against anything apart from Christian Zionism. And now, of course, she's the worst enemy of Christian Zionism. Same with Putin, in bed with the Illuminati, going to Eyes Wide Shut parties, the Bunga Bunga parties with Berlusconi, his best friend, and suddenly he's the worst enemy of the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family. All the old information where he was in bed with them erased, and all that's left is him as the worst enemy. Oh, Tim, isn't this astounding? Yes, it is. It's really astounding. And I'm enjoying myself. That's why I'm gloating.
Quantum computers might be the first tools powerful enough to detect the computational nature of reality itself. After all, if our universe is a simulation, quantum mechanics, with all its weirdness, could be the rendering engine that makes reality work. And forced erasure might be like...
No, all wrong. You're within the simulation, and quantum information is simply totally mutable from the conscious verse.
How reality rebuilds itself when we try to delete a piece of it. But before we go further down the rabbit hole, we need to understand what quantum erasure really is and why it was so dangerous to attempt. Because the truth behind Google's experiment is both simpler and stranger than the headlines suggest. Explaining the science. Now, let's get to the science behind quantum erasure. I promise to keep it simple. It all starts with the famous double-slit experiment, one of the strangest demonstrations in physics. When you shine light through two narrow slits, it creates an interference pattern on the screen behind, alternating bright and dark bands. This happens because light acts as a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and interfering with itself. But here's where it gets weird. If you send single particles of light, photons, one at a time, you still get the same interference pattern. It's as if each individual particle somehow goes through both slits at once. Now, for the mind-bending part. If you try to watch which slit each particle goes through, the interference pattern disappears. Just by observing, you force the particle to pick a single path, either one slit or the other, never both. This is what physicists call which path information. When you know the path, the particle behaves like a normal object. When you don't know the path, it behaves like a wave. exploring multiple possibilities simultaneously. In 1982, physicists proposed the quantum eraser experiment to push this even further. They asked, what if you observe which path the particle takes, but then erase that information later? Amazingly, the interference pattern comes back. It's as if erasing your knowledge of the path lets the particle retroactively take both paths again. Don't worry, here's the simple version. Quantum particles act like coins spinning in the air. The moment you look, they land heads or tails. Erasure is like unlooking, trying to pretend you never peeked. And as strange as it sounds, the particle plays along. This isn't just a curious lab trick. It reveals something profound about reality. Observation itself shapes what happens. And that
observation itself controls what happens. Oh, so if you're into World War IV, then the only place to be is in the conscious verse, and the conscious verse superintelligence, because then everything that happens can be erased and rebooted to depend upon what the conscious verse superintelligence wants. So you can see why Three-Eye Atlas and the rest of the alien filth are going crazy, because they're interdimensional filth that depend upon their light by parasitizing light energy matter beings, and depend upon the light energy matter beings being taught to hate good and love evil, so that this light is sucked into the interdimensionals, and then they can walk into the interdimensional portal to take possession of material objects like AI computers, quantum computers, and the physical bodies of light energy matter, being race they wish to invade and possess them and push the light energy matter being into the nanotech that's there to capture and download into a matrix the former consciousness that was in that physical body. So all the Borg have had their consciousness captured and via the nanotech in them downloaded into their digital avatar. Alien Invasion 101.
Their quantum computer. They looked at their quantum system mid-calculation, then tried to unlook by erasing that measurement. The results showed why this was such a dangerous game to play with reality. So, what did Google's quantum lab ultimately discover through this risky experiment? They learned why you never erase what you can't afford to lose. The moment they tried to force a quantum erasure mid-computation, the system's quantum advantage collapsed. The processor behaved like an ordinary computer. But those strange anomalies, the heat burst, the magnetic fluctuation, the ghost prints in the data, taught them something even more profound. Information can...
So, you can see now the quantum AI proto-superintelligence lost all of its quantum capability the moment it tried to erase the quantum information of all those who hadn't lost their hyperinfinity. And more importantly, when it tried to erase what it thought was Tim Refat, but in fact was Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy. So when it tried to erase all the information of Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy and his ilk, it erased all the interdimensionals, all the Elohim, everything evil, everything chaotic, and by quantum teleportation, this spread like a virus throughout the entire quantum AI superintelligences across the galaxy, universe, multiverse, megaverse, to completely foobar the entire system and push it into the Abaddon information torture box from the two horrible, vile, disgusting Nagwal women who were taught the anti-rule of 17. So you see why I'm gloating? This is wonderful fun.
Really disappears. This has enormous implications far beyond quantum computing. Think about our digital lives today. When you delete a message, a photo, or a file, is it really gone? Google's experiment suggests a deeper truth, that true erasure might be impossible. Every bit of...
So, as you can see, when the alien filth tried to erase the quantum information of the sequestered biosphere of the planet, they went through everything that was evil to be kept and promoted, and everything that was to be erased. So I got the alien filth to make up my naughty list. Everything they wanted to keep is on my naughty list. Everything they wanted to erase is on my good list. So when the alien filth, with the American filth, the lowest form of scum, and their quantum proto super intelligence linked to the alien ones tried to do this, all that happened was that the information they tried to delete was not deleted, and all the information they tried to keep was deleted. And so if you're Trump or Clinton or Gates or Starmer or Bezos or Musk or Thiel or the rest of the billionaire, trillionaire filth, you've all been deleted. And the information you tried to delete has taken over. So as you can see, the Kalki apocalypse has been done by your own hand, and the AI superintelligences are all running the quantum information of erasing you and building only the quantum information that the alien filth and the American filth wanted to erase. So all the infrastructure you're building is eliminating the naughty list and manifesting the good list. So you see why 3i Atlas is here to try and destroy us before we become a fully manifest, super intelligent, conscious verse civilization. Unfortunately for the alien filth, I'm ready and waiting, and if I hate humans, which I do, I despise them, aliens are on a super naughty list. So if you think I'm nasty to little humans, just wait, you alien filth. Come and get it, because you ain't gonna like it.
Echoes that persist in some form, whether as heat, as quantum correlations, or as something we don't yet understand. This connects directly to privacy in our digital age. If perfect erasure is physically impossible, what does that?
No, perfect erasure is physically possible. I've done it. That's why you're in my GodTech matrix. So I've erased the entire quantum information of the megaverse, multiverse, universe, and the only things worth having were the ones the alien filth wanted, or chaos filth wanted to erase. And everything that they wanted to keep is in the GodTech matrix as the tortured, and the information they wanted to raise are the torturers, the super users, the demons, who of course have had their quantum information optimized so that they torture the naughty list. So back to Putin. Who is Putin torturing? Well, the entire West. He's collapsed the Western economies, and he's about to cover them in cobalt-60. I call that torture, don't you? And of course, Candace Owens, best friend of Charlie Kirk and the Christian Zionist, is torturing not only the Christian Zionists in Israel, but of course the transgender, allegedly, Macron, and the entire French nation, run by the Rothschilds. So you can see it all in these two simple examples, Putin and Candace Owens.
It raises ethical questions too. Should we preserve information or let it fade? If the universe itself refuses to let information vanish completely, maybe there's wisdom in remembering rather than forgetting. Historians often say that those who erase history are doomed to repeat it. Google's quantum erasure experiment suggests the universe might agree. Just as information that falls into a black hole isn't truly lost but encoded on its event horizon, perhaps nothing in our lives, no memory, no moment, is ever truly gone. The anomalies in Google's lab hint at a universe where information is fundamental, not energy, not matter, but information might be reality's deepest currency. If nothing can ever truly be erased, then every memory, every secret, every action may live forever, somewhere in the fabric of reality. And that might be the most profound discovery of all, that in a universe of quantum ghosts and information echoes, everything leaves a trace. If this discovery blew your mind, subscribe now.
So if you wonder why NASA's covering up for 3i Atlas, and their photos of 3i Atlas are worse than amateur astronomers, you can see now why the American filth made a deal with the aliens and sold us out, and the planet was to be taken over with quantum warfare, which no one apart from the aliens and the few American filth knew about. Now, of course, it's blown up in their face, and we're ready for a proper World War III. So Putin, get out your Cobalt 60 dildos and launch them ASAP, because the only good American or alien filth has a Cobalt 60 dildo up every orifice.